But on the real, Disney, if there's another thing that I learned from watching your movies, you know, sometimes life is good. Sometimes you have your challenges. You know, you're not destined to be up all of the time. That's just the circle of life. Like, that's all that you are experiencing right now. What? Ha! 50! It's the circle of life. These 7-Eleven cookies be hitting. Hey, shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make society worse.
You and I both know the real power in this world ain't magic, it's money.
You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
Hey, Disney, where's the magic? Ain't this supposed to be showtime? I'm not feeling these new releases.
We bring you a whole new Disney. Hakuna Matata. There are new stories to be told.
Oh, Belle, you're so hot. If you weren't my daughter, I'd probably be dating you.
I can show you the world.
New songs to be sung.
We don't talk about Jeffrey, no.
By the way, shout out to Dutch talk show Lou Botch for putting that together, reflecting the state of the Disney empire. Or maybe something like this, where Disney has lost nearly $4 billion in 3 days from the combined stock price collapse and canceled subscriptions since the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel. Well, you know what, Disney? If I've learned anything from your movies, who needs money when you have love? At the end of the day, love is all you need.
Do you see this? Do you see? Not the lady canceling her $150,000 wedding at Disney. She was not playing. She said, "Take my money back. Thank you. Don't be trying to silence me, honey." I'm like, ooh.
Can you feel the love tonight? She was like, nope, not even a little bit. She left there empty-handed like Gaston. She like, I don't care where we go as long as I get out of here. I'm not even looking both ways. Like, hey, it's bad out here.
Hey, I just canceled my Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions. And they asked me why. I hit other, and I wrote, because I believe in the First Amendment, reinstate Jimmy Kimmel. Now, my whole family is really gonna miss Abbott Elementary. We are really gonna miss Only Murders in the Building. But you know what? We would miss the First Amendment a whole lot more. Don't go to the theme parks. Don't go on the cruises. Cancel your subscriptions. Now.
I got a question. Yeah, because I didn't watch Sex and the City. That's the quiet one with no powers? Like Mirabelle and Encanto? That's her? Disney is scrambling after the backlash to Jimmy Kimmel's cancellation blew up. Wholly unsurprising to anyone paying attention, the backlash over the abrupt cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel Live is only continuing to grow and spread, and Disney is now scrambling to fix a situation quickly, spiraling out of its control. The media is generally framing it as Kimmel being indefinitely suspended for his comments about Charlie Kirk, but if you actually watched what he said and are now wondering why, as Kimmel's jabs weren't aimed at Kirk but Trump, then you've hit on precisely why the backlash against Disney's Jimmy Kimmel decision is growing and why it's not likely to stop anytime soon. Kimmel's own staff, who learned the show was being suspended just before taping on Wednesday, has also been up in arms. In-person and Zoom negotiations between Disney, Kimmel, and his staff aimed at carving a pathway at getting Kimmel back on the air have gone nowhere. Reportedly, Disney wants Kimmel to tone down his rhetoric as well as provide an apology to Charlie Kirk's family and donate to his right-wing organization, Turning Point USA, suggestions that have only served to increase the backlash. Some of y'all ain't never been broken up with before. That ain't the energy. Coming with demands when you under fire and your stock out here walking around looking like Tyrone Biggums, that's the energy. That's really, no. You need some, baby, come back. I will try. Hold me now. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. Ain't too proud to beg, sweet darling, please don't leave me, girl. Oh, let's see what New York Post has to say. Disney bosses are scrambling to convince Jimmy Kimmel to tone down his rhetoric before putting his show back on the air as the company scrambles to manage fallout from his fiery monologue about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Let's take a look at the fiery monologue.
With the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points.
The House of Mouse is said to be keen on resuming airing Kimmel's one-hour talk show, and top bosses were scheduled to meet late Thursday with the longtime host of Jimmy Kimmel Live in a bid to de-escalate the situation, which has led to death threats and doxing of staffers, according to reports. The earliest the show could return is this Monday, though it's unclear if Disney can come to a resolution with Kimmel before then, it was reported by Bloomberg News. ABC yanked Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air Wednesday after Kimmel used his Monday show to blast Republicans for trying to score political points off Kirk's death. Kimmel incorrectly insinuated that Kirk's alleged killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah, was a MAGA follower. And they just say that like we don't have the footage. You know what I mean? They will just say that like we don't have the actual footage and could just go put, I don't know if they don't know how the internet works or they think MAGAs are that lazy. It's definitely that, isn't it? So what you have empowered ABC by virtue of your decision is this kind of absurd characterization of what he actually said. I hope you're proud of yourself, and this is probably exactly why he ain't been feeling all your overtures, not to mention the fact I'm pretty sure he has the legal upper hand on all of this nonsense. So I would change that whole attitude. That whole thing. In fact, I'm surprised he even is responding to y'all at all. You know what I mean? I would go with something real casual, you know, like, do you want to build a snowman? Something like that. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of Kimmel's world. But on the real, Disney, if there's another thing that I learned from watching your movies, you know, sometimes life is good. Sometimes you have your challenges. You know, you're not destined to be up all of the time. That's just the circle of life. Like, that's all that you are experiencing right now. What? Ha! It's the circle of life. These 7-Eleven cookies be hitting. All this time while y'all were having these conversations about a potential disciplinary action taken against Jimmy Kimmel, y'all didn't consider what the backlash might be. Y'all didn't consider the possible ramifications. Didn't Scar tell y'all, be prepared? Yum, yum. Now, you knew the late night hosts were probably going to get Jimmy Kimmel's back.
We have another fun, hilarious, administration compliant show. What are you doing? Shut up. Blow this for us.
Yeah, lot of people are worried that we won't keep saying what we want to say or that we'll be censored. But I'm going to cover the president's trip to the UK just like I normally would. Well, guys, President Trump just wrapped up his 3-day trip to the UK, and he
Looked incredibly handsome.
I just want to say before we get started here that I've always admired and respected Mr. Trump. I've always believed he was, a visionary, innovator, a great president, and even better golfer.
But what you might not have known, they was going to reach all the way back into late night hosts past. That's how unpopular this was.
I'm on Jimmy Kimmel's side on that one.
Have you heard anything? Do you know?
No, I haven't heard anything. I know why people would contact me, but no, I haven't heard anything.
What's the playing field change, Jay?
What's that?
What's the playing field change?
Well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? So we'll see. We'll see.
Could you have ever imagined something like this happening when you were on the air?
Yeah, these kind of things happen all the time. But, you don't get canceled saying popular things. You get canceled, sometimes, usually it's the truth that winds up getting canceled. So we'll see what happens. Well, it's a comedian talking. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I mean, it doesn't seem...
That's the market.
Well, that's the market. I mean, let the people decide.
And Jay Leno just offered that. They wasn't doing Ask Jay anything or nothing like that. He offered that like freely. Right in the middle of jaywalking, right? They were right in the middle of jaywalking. And there was more.
Well, this is misery. And in the world of somebody who is an authoritarian, maybe a dictatorship, sooner or later, everyone is going to be touched. But this is me. For 30 years, I did this for a living. So I see this happen. They took care of Colbert. That was rude. That was inexcusable. The man deserves a great deal of credit. He's in the Hall of Fame 9 times. And to be manipulated like that because the Ellison family didn't want to trouble Donald Trump with this move, so they got rid of him. Not only got rid of him, got rid of the whole franchise. You're not going to have to worry about anything, Larry. It's all gone. It's fine. Good night. And then my good friend Jimmy Kimmel. I feel bad about this because we all see where this is going, correct? It's managed media, and it's no good. It's silly. It's ridiculous, and you can't go around firing somebody because you're fearful or trying to suck up to an authoritarian criminal administration in the Oval Office. That's just not how this works.
Disney, I don't think you're going to make that top 10 list, dog. I don't think you're going to make that top 10 list. And who knows? They might not be done. We might hear from Johnny Carson before this is all said and done. Jack Parr got some bars for y'all. I can't wait to see Flip Wilson and his thoughts on the situation. Y'all gonna mess around and get on the wrong side of Mom's Mabley. Now, these are folks that share a kinship with Jimmy Kimmel by virtue of the fact that they are late night hosts, but it's not like, the regular celebrities, people that might actually be working with Disney or want to work with Disney in the future would come out and say anything now, would they? The fallout from the decision to pull Kimmel off the air was immediate. The Jimmy Kimmel suspension is already so much worse than Stephen Colbert's cancellation. On Thursday, hundreds of union workers and actors protested Kimmel's suspension outside Disney's Burbank studios.
Outside Kimmel's Hollywood studio, demonstrators plan to gather this afternoon when the late night show would be taping an episode. And now we have a live look in Burbank. The Writers Guild organized a protest outside of Disney. They say the goal, they want Disney to bring Kimmel back. It also appears some counter-protesters have joined, so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, that's in Burbank outside of Disney, where they made that decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely, suspend that show. The fate of Kimmel with ABC hangs in the balance.
And this from Andor writer Dan Gilroy. He released a statement saying, as one of the writers on the Disney Plus drama Andor, we spent 6 years thinking about a fascist takeover of a galaxy far, far away. 6 years thinking about ordinary beings as an authoritarian regime comes in for the kill. Many people saw parallels between Andor and the real world. I see them as well, particularly in the events of last week. The suspension bought time, but not much. Disney now stands at a crossroads: terminate Kimmel's contract and become pavement for the road to a brave new Trumpian world, or stand for the First Amendment and take the onslaught. There's not much at stake, just free speech, the oxygen that sustains life in this town. Yeah, but he behind the scenes. He behind the scenes. You know, we won't hear from any of the actual faces that, cause you know it's bad when the actual actors and stars. Oh, they did? They came out too? On-air and off-air talent have made their anger clear, with dozens of actors and creatives, including Damon Lindelof, Mark Ruffalo, Tatiana Maslany, Pedro Pascal, Olivia Rodrigo, and of course Andor writer Dan Gilroy, speaking out against Disney's decision. Plenty are pointing out the irony of Disney caving to the strong arming of the Trump administration after having just won 5 Emmys the previous Sunday for Andor, a show about resisting a fictional fascist regime. Well, Disney, you know, that's bad. You know, not a lot of people know the stress of being an executive. Not at this level, you know. So these are actors and creative types. They don't know about business. Michael Eisner, former CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner, tweets, "Where has all the leadership gone? If not for university presidents, law firm managing partners, and corporate chief executives standing up against bullies, who would then step up for the First Amendment? The suspending indefinitely of Jimmy Kimmel immediately after the chairman of the FCC's aggressive yet hollow threatening of the Disney company is yet another example of out-of-control intimidation. Maybe the Constitution should have said, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or the press except in one's political or financial self-interest." By the way, for the record, this ex-CEO finds Jimmy Kimmel very talented and funny. Now, Disney, he's calling out Congress, but surely all of the MAGAs that have laid down in order to enable us to get to this point in the authoritarian takeover, right? Surely they will applaud, you know, everything y'all putting down.
He threatens explicitly, we're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take him off the air so ABC cannot broadcast anymore. And I got to say, he threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. And I got to say, look, I understand. Jimmy Kimmel has mocked me so many times I cannot count. The corporate media, they are dishonest. They are liars. I hate what Jimmy Kimmel said. I am thrilled that he was fired. But let me tell you, if the government gets in the business of saying, we don't like what you, the media, have said, we're going to ban you from the airwaves if you don't say what we like, that will end up bad for conservatives. It reminds me of, you and I are both fans of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien. It reminds me of like the Ring of Power. And it is so attractive. It's sort of like conservatives saying, wait, if we have government, we have power. Yeah. We can ban the media. Let me tell you what will happen. Going down this road, there will come a time when a Democrat wins again. Wins the White House.
They will get rid of every Democrat talk show in America that's a conservative. They'll get rid of every podcast. They'll get rid of everybody on YouTube.
They will silence us. They will use this power, and they will use it ruthlessly.
That was Ted Cruz. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. You know, that's kind of like Jafar helping Aladdin right there. That's wild. How about the media? Where is right-wing media at with this?
The FCC should not be threatening action against ABC or its affiliates or Disney based on Jimmy Kimmel being a jack. He's been a jack his entire career. Social censure is perfectly appropriate. The blowback from the public, totally natural and in fact good, because Jimmy Kimmel is in fact a schmuck who should have been taken off the air 10 years ago. I do not want the FCC in the business of telling local affiliates that their licenses will be removed if they broadcast material that the FCC deems to be informationally false. Why? Because one day the shoe will be on the other foot.
I get what he was doing there, like Cinderella with the shoe on the other foot. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, well, you know what? At least I got to give him some credit. At least somebody on the right wing is thinking of, I don't know, a future America and all of the precedent that's being set. Because to let some of them tell it, they not thinking past tomorrow.
There are rare points in which I see a piece of data and it just sort of jumps off the screen at me, and this is one of them because I really just think it tells the entire story, and this is among Republicans. The media is biased and should be punished. Look at this. 71% of Republicans agree with the idea that the media is biased and should be punished. Republicans are absolutely loving what is happening right now to Jimmy Kimmel. Absolutely love the words that are coming out of Brendan Carr's mouth. The bottom line is that they believe that the media is biased and should be punished. So taking Jimmy Kimmel off the air, if there's government influence there, they're absolutely enjoying it.
Well, but punished by whom, I guess, is the question. How are Republicans, and how much are Republicans, as you're pointing out here, likely to, or what are they going to think about that this decision was made with government influence?
Yes, exactly right. So, it's one thing if the idea is, okay, Jimmy Kimmel's being punished by his own company, right? Being punished by ABC, being punished by Disney. But the idea that the government is influencing it, I don't think that Republicans are going to have much of a problem with it, because take a look here. Republicans already think that the U.S. media and U.S. news organizations are in fact influenced by government interests. Look at this. Again, amongst Republicans, look at this, 64%. This is, again, even before the Kimmel news broke, 64% of Republicans believe that the U.S. media is influenced by government interests a great deal. We're talking 2/3 of Republicans. And then you get another 26% who say are somewhat influenced by government interests. That totals up to nearly 90%, when, of course, you're not just rounding, as if you were, you'd be 90%, but we're talking about 89% of the public, of Republicans, who say that the U.S. media is influenced by government interests. So no, Republicans, A, they like the idea that Jimmy Kimmel's being punished, and B, they're not at all going to be against the idea that the government might be influencing it, because they already think, 2/3 already think that the government is influencing U.S. media organizations a great deal in this country.
Well, there you go, Disney. There you go right there. The right-wingers love what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. So you can just mark it far right, basically like the UFC has done, and just write off anybody with a conscience or moral compass. You can make money off that. Disney has been among the wokest, most left-wing institutions of the last 20 years. They fired Gina Carano, made Snow White Polynesian or whatever, and hired trans people to interact with children. And the libs think they are owning the right by boycotting them. Wow. Disney. Y'all out here like Maui. Y'all didn't get a "you're welcome" or nothing. They didn't give y'all nothing at all, which is a circumstance that we confront here quite often. They've made up their mind on how they feel about you. When you force them to have to watch brown faces and things, be it Snow White or Ariel and the Little Mermaid. They weren't magically going to ride with you because you decided to enable Trump's clampdown on free speech. All you have managed to do is anger those that were supporting you up to this point. They're picketing outside of your building and canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions. So I have to ask again, what was it all for? What really was it all for? Because you got to think, normally when you do somebody a solid, you expect something back in return, or at least some favor. But in this particular instance, and I alluded to this in my last video about this, we've already seen the struggles that CBS and Paramount have had since capitulating to Trump. You just saw that happen already. Yet you thought this situation was somehow going to help you, because in that video, I talked about him pressing one of your reporters.
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you.
And what did he do immediately after you suspended Jimmy Kimmel?
Settle this free speech question, because you've said that you restored free speech in America.
Yeah.
Is that free speech including for people who are harshly critical of you, for your political opponents, for people who say things you don't like?
I've become immune to it.
Unfairly?
I've become immune to it. There's never been a person that's had more unfair publicity than me, and that's why your network paid me $15 million, or $16 million, I believe, to be exact, George Slopadopoulos, and that's why CBS paid me a lot of money, too. And that's why I sued the New York Times 2 days ago for a lot of money. Because I'm winning. I mean, I'm winning the cases. And the reason I'm winning is because you're guilty, John. You're guilty. ABC is a terrible network, a very unfair network, and you should be ashamed of yourself. NBC is equally bad. I don't know who's worse. I think they're equally bad. And, you know, for you to stand there and act so innocent and ask me a question like that. But look, you paid a big price because you were dishonest, John.
That's right. He went and pressed the same reporter again. That's right. Did you sense a tenor change at all? Did you sense any different energy from him after you capitulated? Kind of like Princess and the Frog, like when she was walking around, when Tiana was walking around as a human versus the frog, like just the differences in the before and that. Because I did it. If anything, you make it worse because you pumped up his ego. And this is what he had to say about your network directly.
ABC is a terrible network, a very unfair network, and you should be ashamed of yourself. NBC is equally bad. I don't know who's worse. I think they're equally bad.
And what'd he say? ABC is a terrible network. You should be ashamed of yourself. And that's after capitulating with Jimmy Kimmel and angering your entire staff and support base. So again, I ask, what was it all for? It wasn't to protect all of your existing inventory, because we also heard this after the fact.
There's an exception to that rule called the bona fide news exception, which means if you are a bona fide news program, you don't have to abide by the equal opportunity rule. And over the years, the FCC has developed a body of case law on that and has suggested that most of these late night shows, other than SNL, are bona fide news programs. And potentially, I would assume, you can make the argument that The View is a bona fide news show, but I'm not so sure about that. And I think it's worthwhile to have the FCC look into whether The View and some of these other programs that you have still qualify as bona fide news programs and therefore exempt from the equal opportunity regime that Congress has put in place.
Disney, I gotta talk to you like one of Princess Jasmine's girlfriends should have pulled her aside. Girl, what is you doing? So you mean to tell me that you provided a couple more steps on the way to full authoritarian rule and the clampdown on free speech, angered people on the left and the right, people on the right wing laughing at the fact that you capitulated and don't want to support you at all. Your downfall is more hilarious to the right wingers that have been hating you up to this point because you made them have to look at brown faces. Now you've left us in the uncomfortable position of complete disgust with you when we've been riding with you the entire time, only for him to keep coming after more of your shows and characterize you as a terrible network. Well done. I gotta say, I have to say, that was well done. Even better than the Snow White remake. Now, one point does have to be mentioned, though, in the midst of all of this. And shout out to Michael Harriot for this. If you're upset about Jimmy Kimmel being canceled, I'm sure you were just as furious when you heard about Joy Reid and Tiffany Cross or Amber Ruffin or Karen Attiah or Jamel Hill. Because Kimmel might still have a job if you were. Those are incredibly wise words, and he is 100% correct. I'm gonna have to circle back around to this, but for right now, Disney, congratulations. The only thing I might be able to suggest you do, maybe you get some of the folks that's still on payroll to try and put try and put a happy face on this or something.
That President Trump has been willing to take that stance, has been unapologetic in doing so, definitely points the finger of, trying to infringe upon our First Amendment rights. I was just of the mindset, however, that he's made it very, very obvious for quite a long time that this is exactly what he was willing to do. Stephen Colbert was obviously an example before Jimmy Kimmel became an example. And I was of the mindset that Jimmy Kimmel, you've got to know that. And all of us have to know that to some degree and operate accordingly.
Wow. Wow. And you paying him how? No, I see why Molly left. I see why Molly left. That makes a whole lot of sense. That's your man's. That is your man's. All of this starting to make sense. It's starting. Yeah. All the Fox News. Yeah. I got you. Hey Disney. While you're here, I just want to holler at y'all while you're here. What happened to Wish? What y'all just pretend like that never happened? Like that black boyfriend you had one summer. Like what happened? No, cause we got our first movie. We got our first movie, and y'all made her a frog for basically the entirety of the movie. In the beginning, I went out to grab a drink, and I missed the whole time she used her legs until the end of the movie. So first you made her a frog, then you gave us a redo, and now you want to pretend like you know what I mean? I just need an answer. I need something. They could have at least had some people in The Lion King. That would have helped you. If you had some people walking around in The Lion King, that's a classic. Everybody loves Lion King, but it probably wouldn't have been though if it was. Yeah, if you would have saw one shin bone in Lion King, you know how they would have reacted. Maybe for Moana 3, she can go to a HBCU, because everybody just assumes she's black. Yeah, that's what they would do anyway. Thank you guys so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. Obviously, in this time of heightened political tension, communities like we have created here on the channel are even more important. And I am extremely grateful to have this space to grow and share and learn together alongside you guys. And I would like to invite you to come be a part of that community, whether that's just jumping in the comments and letting me know what you think of the content, sending me suggestions at admin@reesewaters.com, and of course, subscribing to the page and becoming a member. Also, we do lives once a week, so you can always be on the lookout for those live notifications, as well as me premiering all of my videos. So if you want to come check out the videos and chat alongside myself and the mods and all of the characters that have been created here on the channel, I would love to have you. I also will once again like to thank all of the people whose hard work has gone into making this channel grow and thrive in the way that it has. The mods have definitely been through it. I can say that. Definitely in the last week, they've been through it. And I am so happy to have you guys be stewards of this community and keeping it safe for everyone. And of course, Miss Ray for keeping everybody organized and making sure we're getting the word out, as well as Regina for helping me keep track of a pretty insane news cycle. Everybody who has pitched in, I want to say a sincere thank you. And it is because of your efforts that we got a lot more where that came from.